Welcome to Background Noise. This is a podcast where myself and two friends are going to talk about topics and stories that interest us. However, if they don't interest you, feel free to fall asleep. That's why it's called Background Noise. All right, how you guys doing?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah, all right. Let's get right into it. So I wanted to talk about Borderlands 3. Have you guys seen the trailer for this game?
Yes, I have. A while
No, I have not. But tell me about it.
You haven't
Please
seen
tell
it?
me about it. No, I haven't.
They introduced like a bunch of new characters to it. Well, obviously the 4 Vault Hunters. So if you haven't played any of the Borderlands series, it's basically like a huge loot game, I guess. Like you basically just run around. Like you never have the same gun for more than a few minutes playing, really. Because especially if you go out there and you're just playing like through the game, you're not really like farming any bosses or anything. It does get a little bit intense with picking up weapons and new shields and new equipment. So now they're adding like skins, so you can put skins on things and whatever. I thought that was pretty cool. Because
What's the storyline about for it?
I don't know. We haven't seen like a full like storyline yet, but basically, of like the whole franchise is there's the people called Vault Hunters, and so they're trying to look for like the vaults, right? Of what they have things in them or whatever. I don't know exactly what's in the vaults, but in Borderlands 2 it was this giant sort of monster called Warrior, and you could basically get Warrior to do whatever you wanted it to do, right? You could just say to, go kill something or whatever, and it would go do it. It was this giant lava monster. So in the end of the game, in Borderlands 2, spoilers, you actually have to fight Warrior, which is probably one of the best battles in the game, in my opinion. But, it's pretty cool.
It is a very good series. It's the only thing I can think of that would turn people away is probably the art style. Because it's not like the modern style of games.
It does look weird, I'll be honest. When I like it, yeah, I agree.
I think the art style is what sets it apart, though, because everyone kind of knows. You know what I mean? Like I kind of like the art style just because it's more like cartoon-esque, and it has that sort of like it has a childish feel while having an adult game. You know what I mean? Like adults can play this. Like my dad loves this game. He will like swear by this game. It's probably one of his favorite games. So like for it to be like childish, kind of not be like super intense with like shooting people's heads off and like I don't know if you ever played I forget what it's called now, but it's like a very like gruesome game and lots of like like cutting people's heads off, whatever. It's not really like the kind of game.
Mortal Kombat.
No, that's not what I was talking about. But yes, that'll do for an example. It's very sort of realistic. They try to want to make the graphics as good as possible. I don't know. It's like those kind of games are kind of they're not very creative in my opinion. They're kind of like you make the game, design it how you want. Obviously, the creation of the game is very creative because they have to go through all that process. But when it comes down to the graphics, all they do is just make the graphics look as good as they can. Which is, I mean, it's not easy to do, but it's still like it's very standard. You know what I mean? So for the
art style for Borderlands sets it apart.
Yeah, it adds. It's pretty cool in my opinion. I think it's a cool style. So I have it pre-ordered for Xbox because that's what I play on with my dad. So we're gonna play through Borderlands 3. Probably have fun with that.
Who's the developer of the Borderlands franchise? I don't know a whole lot about it.
I think it's called 2K. 2K is the
like
company.
2K games, like all
2K
those
games.
sports things and whatnot.
No, not sports. Sports is EA, but it's
okay.
It's like 2K, like the little or like Gearbox.
2K Games is
2K Games and
yeah.
Gearbox.
That's the 2K Games is the publisher and the developer is Gearbox.
Yeah, sorry. But it's I don't know, I've been interested in Borderlands for a while.
Well, it's not EA, so that's a plus. That's all we can say.
It's not going to be pay to win, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. I don't know if they added microtransactions, but I know they added like the skins for guns and weapons and stuff like that. So, you know, whatever we gotta do to make the game, you know, interesting. And I hope it's gonna come out pretty good. Oh my god.
So what's up with James Charles? Can he ever recover? How many subscribers did he lose? Like 2 million? Or
3 million.
Get out of
here. I actually don't know. Let's look up the exact amount. James
and all
Charles
because he was trying to convert, like, or trying to make a friend of his into someone else. Like, is that what it was?
No, it's like
I think he was trying to convince someone else that they were gay.
It's a combination of things. One of the things was he was at Coachella and he was getting mobbed by like people, obviously, right? And so he asked the company Sugar Bear Hair, which, if you don't know, it's like this little like vitamin things that you take and it makes your hair like nicer or whatever. It has stuff in there that's, you know, all natural for your hair. So he basically asked that company if they had like security that he could, you know, like stay with so that he wouldn't get attacked. I don't know like the exact details, but I know that's what it was. He asked, you know, that company, and that company is like a rival company to his friend, who is also like his mother, kind of like a mother figure to him, Tati Westbrook or whatever, and her husband or boyfriend or something like that. So, you know, that was obviously like controversial. And then she came out and said that he's sort of changed now that he has money. Yeah, and then the other thing was that he was like going around talking to straight guys and trying to convince them that they're gay so that they would sleep with him. And she sort of called him out on that. And then a lot of people started getting hate from that. Like, I would hate that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care if he's famous. Like, I'm straight. Like, I'm not interested in that. So if people were to do that, you know, it's
But like either way, you have like the weight of the world on your shoulders. Like this James Charles, he has, you know, millions of subscribers and followers, people of all ages watching his, I don't know, what does he do, makeup tutorials, and then you come out and you do this. Like, what is wrong with you? You have so many supporters, problem, and then you're right? You're a 19-year-old, I don't even know, girl, guy, whatever, and this happens. Like, come on,
is what they would
seriously
call a beauty guru. Like, I don't know why there's a lot of people who are in a position to influence and they act really dumb. Like we were talking last week about Brie Larson. Go check out that video, shameless plug. And like people who are in power to influence people are not acting the way they should. Like it's really sad, honestly, because they're like they're going out there and they have, you know, children, they have women, they have people, they have teenagers who are looking up to them, and then they go and do stuff like this, and then once it gets called out, you know, they play the victim card. And he even said, I watched his video, that he wasn't trying to play the victim card, but he was like half crying the entire time. Like you're either gonna cry or not. He looked like he was trying to sneeze the whole video.
He did. He looked like he was about to sneeze the entire video. It was hilarious.
Like, it's so stupid. Like these people are either making more drama out of things that don't need it, or they're not taking it seriously enough. It's one of the two. People never get it right.
It's just a whole money-making circle. One person overreacts about something, the other person cries about it, and they all just the next few weeks they just wake up in a pool of money of all the controversy stuff, because then people are like, oh my god, this is happening, I have to follow it. So then they get all these views on YouTube, and then all this stuff happens. Like if you look at the apology video and all that stuff and the views, like it's a lot of people are watching it, right? So it's people want to follow drama, so people know that they're making money off of it.
It's almost insulting to me. I think YouTube needs to have some sort of a policy where when it gets to these types of stages that accounts need to get banned, you know, action needs to be taken, because it's just absurd at this point. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like the same thing with David Dobrik and his vlog squad. When Jason and Trisha broke up after dating for a while, Um, they made a lot of money off of like their breakup video. Same thing with David and Liza, his ex-girlfriend. They made a lot of money off of like their breakup video because it ends up in these like, you know, super intense.
Everybody's been following them for a long time, and now they're like, oh, there's drama about this thing, we all have to follow it, sort of thing.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. I'm not really a fan. I don't like when people do that because they're just sort of taking advantage of like obviously like the media, right? The media wants to cover these stories, so they hype it up so much that everyone wants to watch it, and it's, I don't know.
It's like, lady, just stick to doing your makeup tutorials and just leave it at that. Like,
Yeah,
why do you have to bring it to this level?
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, I knew James Charles from like my sister and, you know, like my friends, whatever, but I didn't even know who Tati was. Like, who even is that? I have no idea.
That's
never
the
heard
thing.
of her.
Nobody knew who she was. Okay, well, not nobody, but
So
like
can you trust
a very
the source?
niche, a very niche group of people knew about this community, right?
Yeah.
And then as soon as this whole scandal comes out with James Charles, now everybody knows about them, right? I had no clue who the hell this Tati person was.
Yeah, no, I have no
Not
idea.
a clue.
I still have
someone
no
said
idea.
that name last week. Who? What? Now it's like all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he lost subscribers. He lost 3 million, by the way. I checked it out.
Jesus
And
Lord.
I think it's just gonna come right back. Honestly, like, it's so dumb.
You have like YouTubers who would die for 3 million subscribers and like want to build up their channels, and then she does something like this and just casually loses 3 million. It's like, what are you doing? You know?
All right, so I to change the topic just completely, just a complete 180, 360, whatever. I want to talk about the new.
I'm getting pretty bored about this topic, honestly.
I want to talk about the new DJI Osmo Action, the new camera. It's essentially what it is it's a GoPro essentially. Like
It's a GoPro. Yeah, I saw this video. They literally copied a GoPro. Like, they made a GoPro and they stuck a DJI like logo on it. Yeah, that's what they did, pretty much.
Yeah. So the specifications they're good. So it's got 4K HDR video.
Yeah, standard stuff.
Video
standard
and
stuff.
4K photo, which by this point it is standard on these sort of action cameras. It's waterproof, which again, right, is standard with these sort of action cameras if you're using these in like if you're going swimming, skiing, whatever the environment might be. And it's got video stabilization and that sort of thing. But it's, I don't know. I think it's what it's meant to be, because my understanding is that DJI is more so known for like mounts and that sort of thing.
Yeah, like the
not
mounts
so much
and
the
stuff.
cameras.
Yeah, they do a lot of like mounts, and they have their DJI Osmo Pocket, which was supposed to be like their like, you know, small sort of a gimbal camera, which it's sort of one of the best things for like beginner, you know, filmmakers, whatever it is, because I've sort of gotten into making, you know, short films and whatever it is. So I kind of just use my GoPro for all the, you know, steady shots. I just flip it into linear mode, 2.7K, you know, 30 FPS, whatever it is. And it's, there you go. Like, it's perfectly fine. It does its job. And I have a camera as well, but that only records in 1080p. So it's not meant to be a video camera. So I don't know. I think this is going to be like a huge rival, because I think GoPro has been holding back on really like being inviting for people, because it's like GoPro is just known to be like their action camera. GoPro is known to be rugged, but that's kind of all that it is, really, when you think about it. GoPro is just like a rugged camera. You know, the quality's okay, but it kind of warps the image on the outsides. And, you know, GoPro is kind of really lacking on this. You know, like they're sort of leaving out, like, you know what I mean? Like they haven't been innovating because they were the only ones that were brand name and they were in the action camera industry. So now with competition, I think they're both gonna get like significantly better because they have someone to compete against. You know what I mean? Like Apple and Samsung, like they're going head to head, and well, Apple and Android, because it's just the more the OS that's being in competition, because there are a bunch of different companies for Android, but they're gonna have someone to go up against now. So I think I'm curious to see how they're gonna
And
take this to the next level.
I think the DJI is cheaper than the GoPro.
I think it is. Yeah, I think
it's like $50 or something.
Yeah.
In terms
maybe.
of pricing.
I haven't seen the prices
Let me look
yet.
it up.
Sure, go for it. I haven't seen the prices yet, so I'm not really sure. But I know.
Yeah, it's a $50 gap.
Yeah, that might be enough for someone. Someone might want a GoPro, and then they go for the DJI version because it's just $50 cheaper, whatever it is, does the same job. But we haven't seen many side-by-side comparisons yet. Although the DJI is meant to be better in lower light than the GoPro, but that also begs the question: how rugged is the Osmo Action? You know what I mean? Like, because GoPro is meant for that. GoPro is meant to be in the snow, underwater, be thrown, whatever it is. But could you do that with the Osmo Action and get the same?
I think what the deciding factor is going to be for people buying it is the reputation, in terms of GoPro has already built up the reputation of being the go-to. $50, is it really worth saving $50 for kind of like a company that's just getting into these sort of things?
A camera is a camera, is it not? Like $50 is $50. Like, they keep releasing these new gens of cameras and stuff like that, but it's a camera. Like, I don't know. I don't truly understand it.
Just to clarify a little bit, DJI they have the drones. They have the DJI Phantom drones, are the white drones.
Yeah, that's where they excel. DJI is like
that's what they're known for. This is the first kind of standalone action camera style thing that they've released. So it's not like they've never made cameras before. Because
there are camera
because they have there are cameras on the drones, obviously.
Yeah.
But this is the first standalone sort of camera that they've made.
I want to kind of bring up this whole Bill Nye Science climate change video. I mean, like, come on, it's hilarious with how he's trying to get his message across that it's actually happening. By I think, what did they say, by the year like 2040, temperatures are going to rise by like 4 degrees. Water levels are going to rise. People are going to lose their homes. It's going to be pretty severe, but it's still constant denial from politicians and world leaders. No, it's not happening. It's not happening. So, like, is by him releasing this video, is that really still enough, or does there need to be more? Kind of, let people know that this is actually happening.
I don't know. Like in 2019, we've been kind of seeing a lot of people advocating for. Fixing the earth, whatever that is. So, as a family, I've stopped buying plastic water bottles, right? I used to have them in my lunch all the time, but I'm going to try and change it over to a plastic water bottle that I can refill, right? A refillable water bottle. Just to sort of do my part, because I feel like the earth is kind of at a position where we've sort of messed it up to the point where we're the last generation that has a chance to fix it. And the more we wait, the harder it's going to be to come back from it. So when people say, like, I was talking with someone yesterday, and I was telling them that I wanted to buy an electric lawnmower, and they were saying, that's they're terrible. Electric lawnmowers are horrible. They're not very good, whatever it is. And the reason why I think they're not very good, like, just, for an example, we'll get back to the other topic in a second. But the reason why I think they're not as good is because no one buys them. You know what I mean? Like, the industry doesn't have a reason to advance. Just like GoPro, what we were just talking about, they have no reason to advance because they have no competition. You know what I mean? So if people start buying, electric things, then obviously the industry is going to grow. People are going to see, oh, we should really, advance this instead of the other stuff. Like I see a lot, like gas-powered lawnmowers that have like a really, really intense, engine, whatever. They can power themselves. You just push it forward a little bit, and it auto, it pulls forward on its own. But for electric lawnmowers, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think any of them have that. And I'd
be surprised if they don't. They're probably more or less the same. It's just, I think people like the ease of just filling it up with gas and going, rather than having to worry about it being charged or not.
Yeah, but the thing is, you know what I mean? Like, what about when we run out of gas? Like, I'm not saying that it's gonna happen soon. Like, I'm not a scientist, I don't know, but it's gonna happen eventually. It's a fossil fuel. It's not a renewable energy source, right? Plugging in, a battery into a outlet in your garage, and then maybe having 2 or 3 batteries. You get the batteries. You plug them in. I don't know how long they last. I haven't done all my research on this. I just know that I wanted to get one, for the betterment of the earth. Instead of using gas, right? Just make the little changes that I can.
Right, and a lot of like restaurants and stuff, I'm sure you guys have seen this, are adapting to that as well by like, in terms of this whole environmental problems, by getting rid of all their plastic straws. You know what I mean? Like, when you go to every fast food restaurant now, or like most of them, it's all paper straws, right?
Yeah, it's all like it's all cardboard.
Yeah, it's all like cardboard. At one point, you're literally sipping on wet paper. It's disgusting, but it helps the environment, right?
That's true. Yeah.
In the end, it's worth it, and we have to start doing something. I mean, like, it's like what you were said. We're not going to have fossil fuels, for the rest of time. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think it's in less than 100 years. We're going to be out of coal. We're going to be out of oil. It's going to, we don't have unlimited of everything. So
yeah,
it's either now or never.
And those sort of things aren't just like, oh, we lose gas-powered cars and engines and that sort of thing. Like, oil is used in making plastic, is it not?
Yeah.
We would lose that sort of thing as well.
Which would kind of be a good thing, to be honest with you. If we lose the ability to make plastic, our world would kind of be at a standstill where we no longer can produce plastic. All we can do is reuse it, which I think would be a benefit. But obviously the drawbacks of not having, cars that are, gas-powered, not having... I don't know. It's like, it's. I think that we really need to make a change, and it's starting to become apparent when, it's what is it? May now, and it's still kind of cold outside, right? It's not hot yet, and the temperature changes so quick. Like, we're in Canada, and it's like one day you go outside and it's like hot, like t-shirt weather, and then the next day you go outside and you feel like you have to wear like a big heavy sweater. Like, that is that's not how our Earth
and
is
people say climate change doesn't exist.
Yeah, people say like climate change doesn't exist. Like, just open your eyes. Are you kidding me? Look outside. Look what's happening. Same with hurricanes, stuff like that. That wasn't a thing that happened. Hurricane season didn't exist years ago.
I don't know about that, but
no. I've seen a few videos on this. People talk about like hurricanes are being caused because of the global warming and the climate change that's happening. Hurricanes
more frequently is what I think.
Yes, more frequently. Like, they didn't happen as often, right? People, like, now we know, like, around May and April is our like hurricane season. You know what I mean? Like, that's what happens. Like, we have hurricanes, we have like these like storms that happen, and that's not like a that wasn't a thing. That's a new thing that's happening. That's a more common thing. So I think we really need to make a change going forward. And it's like I'm kind of happy that we're talking about it on here, even if not very many people listen. Hopefully you guys listen, make a few changes in your own life, because even the small stuff will help eventually, right? To
be honest, though, nothing is really going to change unless a government official comes out and says, we are going to run out of fuels tomorrow. Your water taps are going to stop running tomorrow. It's too late. it's over. That's the only way people are going to change. That's the sad part. No one is going to change until the day we run out of useful resources, the day our water levels rise, like, 5 meters above sea level. The day when disaster hits is when everyone's going to realize, oh my God,
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna happen until it visually becomes a problem. People saying, "Oh, in 20 years, it's gonna be this whole ordeal. Things are gonna change for the worse. Everything's gonna be bad." You're like, "Oh, that's in 20 years. I have time."
Yeah,
right? Like
it's just
essentially procrastinating, right? Like, which everyone does, whatever. But like, this is an actual problem.
Yeah, this is important. This isn't, your grade 11, science test that you have to study for. This is like the Earth. Like, it's our only planet. We're trying to go to Mars, but like that, like typical for humans to ditch their, just ditch it. You know what I mean? Like, we just cause a problem and we're just like, all right, goodbye Earth. We're just gonna go live on Mars now. We don't need to be
here anymore. It's fine.
Like,
we'll just go somewhere.
You know what I mean? Like how disgusting is that? Like, you cause a problem and then you just leave. You know
but that's the issue, right? We don't fully have we have the technology to go to Mars, but we haven't yet prepared properly. Like, it's going to cost too much money to send resources and send everything up there. We can send people up there, but it's so much more complicated than that. Basically what I'm saying is we need Earth. It's, there's no leaving. Yeah. So it's now or never.
We kind of need the planet that we're on, guys. I don't know if you realize this. I mean, like,
Matthew, do you realize? It doesn't seem like you realize.
I don't know. Like, I feel like people are just forgetting that, Like, we kind of need the planet that we're on, right? Like, your house is nice, you got some nice air, but that wouldn't be there if the planet was destroyed, right? You know what I mean? If we can't walk outside without gas masks on because of how, the oxygen is no longer fit for us to breathe, like, think about that. That would be horrible. That would be like horrible quality of life. No one would be able to live properly anymore. What about people who need oxygen tanks? What about people who need, these things? Like, it's like they're just gone. They're not going to be able to survive. It's going to be survival of the fittest at that point. Because people
we're heading in that direction. We're so heading in that direction.
Yeah, so I just wanted to do one more topic real quick. Amber Alerts. Why are people getting so mad about Amber Alerts? When people, make the, they talk about, oh, I got woke up in the morning and, an Amber Alert, it was so loud and it was so annoying. There's this button on the side of your phone. It's quite amazing. Apple, Samsung, all these companies, this is the one thing they have in common. There's a button on the side of your phone that can turn your phone off. And and when you turn it off, you don't actually get notifications because your phone is not on. It's quite amazing, really. And I have never been woken up by an Amber Alert because I always turn my phone off at night. So when I wake up, I get the notification, and at least I don't look like a douche when I wake up and I have to, call the police and tell them, hey, your Amber Alert woke me up. Like that's horrible. I don't know about you guys. I feel like that's like one of the worst things.
I think people are failing to realize, though, that these Amber Alerts are way more important than you think. Because, if your child was lost out there, you would be freaking out and you would be pissed at other people who ignored it as well. Like, not everyone thinks about how they would feel if they were placed in another person's shoes.
But your kid that was kidnapped in the case of, let's say that's the case. Like, you'd be grateful that there was an Amber.
Yeah, you're gonna stop watching Say Yes to the Dress, and you're gonna go find your child. Like, it's just the way it is.
That's true.
You're not supposed to ignore these. They're not made for you to ignore them. Who gives a shit if it wakes you up? That's kind of the point, so that it makes you aware of what's going on.
Yeah, but, especially because it's at that moment. You know what I mean? Like, right then and there. Like, the best time to find someone who's gone missing is as soon as they go missing, because their tracks would be fresh. There would be, things for people to find that would be fresh. Like, you don't have to estimate, oh, this could have been here for, a day. It's like there you go. Like, that's it. It's been there, for, 5 minutes. That's how long they've been missing. So, yeah. So we're going to end on this topic of, controversy about people, hating Amber Alerts. So if you hate Amber Alerts, screw off. And if you're okay with Amber Alerts, then good for you. If you really hate Amber Alerts that much, just turn your phone off, buddy. Turn your phone off. Problem solved. Anyway.
No, don't turn your phone. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for us. Thanks for listening, everyone. Join us next Sunday at 12 p.m. EDT for another discussion. You guys have anything
Bye.
to say? You guys gonna say something? No.
No.
Deuces.
Okay.